Only one sector away from the front line, a bunch of soldiers sit inside the cantina where they can sit, relax, and talk, although there isn't much relaxing, as they say, "I cannot do this anymore. I do not know who is worse, the enemy or those new ones, the humans. It's like they laugh with death as we fight. Hell, they laugh at death whenever it comes at them."
This is true. The convoy I was with on the surface of Rexov 2 was struck by an improvised explosive device. The transport was simply thrown into the air, rolled off its own route, and then stopped. The humans simply climbed out of the transport, raised their hand, raising one of their digits, seemingly in a manner that would show discontent, and seemingly said, "Ha, you missed." And I don't understand it.
I saw one of the human vehicles get struck as well. It was struck by a thermal mine, if anything else. Normally, this would be enough to make anyone just simply scream in agonizing pain, waiting to die, wishing for death to come in. But the humans seemed to jump out and say something that made the other humans laugh, as he said, what was it? Oh yes, "My biscuits are burning. Fire in the hole!" Or, "Backblast area not clear." The medics even came up and called him a crispy critter.
Yes, I heard about that one, and yes, it is bad, but it's almost as bad as when they're not getting injured. It is strange, when we had to face off against the insectoid wedges, you would be amazed what the humans would say. They would simply fire, watch one of the insectoids fall to the ground and say, "Tag, you're dead," or "Stand up and I'll kill you again," as though they wanted to kill more and more. And the worst was you would hear them singing. As the horde came up, they would sing something, if I remember correctly, it was 1 little, 2 little, 3 little bugs dead. 4 little, 5 little, and they just kept counting their kills, and they kept chuckling and making that strange barking noise they do. This thing they call a laugh. Oh, it was horrible.
Oh, you think that's bad? You should have heard another one say, "How does the lead taste, asshole?" as it actually shoved the barrel of its weapon inside the insectoid's mouth and blew the back of its brains all the way to its butt.
Ah, yes, I was there for that one. I saw another human take a very long distance shot. I wasn't even sure what they hit, and then all of a sudden it just pulled down his weapon and go, "I got you."
Oh, it's terrible. Many of them say, "Don't bother running, you'll just die tired," as the insectoids ran away. And they did run. Boy, did they try to run away from the humans. And they just continued to fire, as though they didn't even care that they weren't even aiming for the bugs anymore. They were shooting the bugs in their posterior. Then one of the humans actually said, "I think I know what's the last thing they thought." When I asked them, they said,
Oh, yes, I remember this one. They said the last thing to go through his mind is his ass.
And yet they all seemed to find this very amusing. I found it disturbing.
"Oh, you want to talk disturbing about the humans? Oh, I was with Simple Human Infantry. They started using unmanned vehicles they call drones. They would fire them off in groups into the sky. These things would deploy and fly for a long distance. Somehow they're able to fly them from such distances that we don't understand how they're able to do it. It gets past the jammers, too. Yet that is not the worst part. It is listening to them as they launch all these different drones. They begin to start humming and then singing a certain rhythm. It is horrible. I can't listen to it without my quills simply shaking. Ugh.
What does it sound like?
Oh, I don't dare repeat it. But when I asked them if it had a name, they said it was a flight of something they call Valkyries.
I will have to remember not to find out what these Valkyries actually are. I remember they said not to mess with a honey badger, and by my mistake, when they actually brought one, I decided to poke at it. Almost lost two of my antennae on that one.
Yes, they are creepy. It is so insane that even injured, they laugh. They laugh as they're hurt, as they're bleeding all over the place. I was inside an impact crater taking cover when several holes in me from reptilian projectile spikes. I believed I was done for. Then a human fell in next to me with at least 10 spikes sticking out of his body. I thought for sure he was done, and then he simply rolled over, and I saw him pull the spikes out one by one and treating himself, giving some sort of little wince, but then chuckling to himself. I believe that's what they call it when they simply have a small laugh. Yet I believed that the creature would surely make it back to tell my tale. If it's able to survive that, then perhaps it would be able to make it out of the melee that was happening all around the impact crater. As I watched as it used a piece of its own clothing to make a makeshift bandage as it has run out of bandage, I held my own wounds and looked at his rank, realized what to call him, and said, "Sergeant, please relay this message. Tell my wife I love her." The human screamed in pain as he pulled another spike from his leg. "Ah! Can't you see I'm hurt worse than you dumb son of a bitch?" And then he smiled and laughed. I had to stop and laugh with him. It was contagious. I wonder if this is something that happens when you're near humans. Even the battlefield angels that the humans call medics, they laugh. As they dragged me out to safety after the battle, I simply looked and asked if I would even survive. He looked and said, "Calm down. I cut myself worth shaving this morning. You're going to be fine."
Oh no, here comes the humans.
They looked over, and they could see humans drenched in sweat from PT, still trying to wipe their brows before the sweat actually dripped into their eyes. "Hey, Cookie, what's for dinner?" "Shit on a shingle. Why do you ask?" "Oh, we're real hungry." "Yep, I'm so hungry I could eat a whole roof of them shingles." As the ones who had been talking simply looked over at the humans that piled enormous amounts of food on their trays, simply took them over, and simply joking and laughing continued to shove more and more food down their gullets. They looked over and they listened to the humans talk. For some reason, they did not like their commander. It's as though their commander had done things that had been borderline or going over inappropriate, yet using his own rank to protect himself, in a way of trying to show respect and also insult the man at the same time. They gave him a new call sign, a call sign that made all the other Xenos wonder, why is this so funny? When they called the commander Rainbow 6. Hello everybody, this is Syntax. I sure hope you enjoyed the short story today, and I hope you got a laugh out of it too. Before I go, I need to send out some special thank yous to a few of my supporters, and those will be Erica Gem, MTF Guard, Brian Kemp, SS Demon, Chris Dixon, and Guardian Sage. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Everybody else, I'll see you on the next one. This is Syntax, punching out.